With this lesson, we start talking about clause 6 of the standard, which is of course planning. Planning is divided into 3 other sub-clauses. The first one, which we're going to talk about now, is actions to address risks and opportunities. So, according to the standard, the organization is required to determine the risks and opportunities that need to be addressed in order to give assurance that the quality management system can achieve its intended results, and to prevent or reduce undesired effects, and also to achieve continual improvement. Now, as you can see, the standard does not specify exactly what actions should the organization take. So now when we talk about addressing or identifying the risks, we're talking about risk management. And to effectively achieve risk management, so there are a few steps that or few actions that the organization could take. The first one is avoiding the risk. Take the example of a construction company that shuts down its construction site due to weather condition. So that's avoiding the risk. The organization could also take the risk, just like gamblers. Gamblers take the risk of either losing everything or winning everything. The organization could also eliminate the risk. Take the example of maybe when there is a task or a job that could be done on the ground. Well, we could do it on the ground instead of doing it at a height. So that's eliminating the risk. The organization could share the risk. So sharing the risk with others, like partners or the insurance company. Or the organization could do nothing, because sometimes doing nothing about the risk costs less than actually taking action. The organization could also use a few tools or few methods for risk analysis or risk management. Take the example of the FMEA, or failure mode and effects analysis, or the fishbone analysis, or the fishbone diagram, or also known as the cause-effect diagram, and the FTA, or the fault tree analysis, or the ETA, or the event tree analysis, or the Pareto analysis, also known as the Pareto chart or the Pareto diagram. Now, we've been talking about how to identify risk, but what is risk in the first place, and what is an opportunity? Well, risks is the probability of arriving at an unexpected state where requirements are not met, while opportunity is the possibility for improvement due to a favorable combination of circumstances or conditions in the quality management system. Let's take some examples. An example of an opportunity is new income stream, while a risk could be the cost to delivery. And this is, of course, financial risks and opportunities. An opportunity could be a broader experience for staff and organizational knowledge base and specialization, while a risk could be safety risks for staff, or a cost of having a staff member out for a day, or having a staff member susceptible to influence while on site. Of course, as you can see, there are a number of opportunities and risks that you can take a look at, and I've also included a file which has other risks examples that you can take a look at, and it is a PDF resource. Now, as for auditing this requirement, the auditor needs to review the risk management documents if there is any. So, risk management documents could be in the form of risk registers, which is basically a tool just like the tools that we've been seeing. You can take a look at a risk register example that I included that I attached as a PDF. Now, in the case of no risk management documents, the auditor could conduct interviews with top management and other personnel within the organization. And the auditor could take a look or review other documents like the market research document, strategies document like marketing strategies documents, or could take a look at the document where we've got the competitor information. The second subclause of clause 6 is quality objectives and planning to achieve them. Now, this isn't the first time we talk about quality objectives. We've talked about quality objectives in the very beginning of this course with the SMART format. So quality objectives basically should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So there is no need to restate all of this again. Now, according to the standard, the quality objectives shall be consistent with the quality policy. What does this mean? Well, if we take a look at this example of quality policy and quality objectives, so this organization, for instance, has a quality policy statement that says we will achieve customer satisfaction, and therefore an objective could be achieving a high level of service user satisfaction, with the key performance indicator being the number of customer complaints and a possible target of having less than 2 complaints submitted in that year or 2019. Let's take another example. We're still in the quality policy statement. It says we will respond as quickly as possible when contacted by a customer, and we will work to meet agreed deadlines for all data requests. So an objective could be providing a responsive customer service with the key performance indicator by comparing actual request completions against the target agreed with users, with a possible target of 95% of work requests completed within the deadline. So this is how basically we align quality policy with quality objectives. Now let's go back. So the quality objectives shall be consistent with quality policy and be measurable. So the quality objectives shall be measurable, and quality objectives shall take into account applicable requirements. We're talking about customer requirements and legal requirements. The quality objectives shall also be relevant to conformity of products and services and the enhancement of customer satisfaction. This could be done by taking a look at the SLA checklist or the service level agreement checklist. The quality objectives shall also be monitored and communicated within the organization. The quality objectives shall also be updated as appropriate. So the quality objectives should always be updated according to the quality policy and according to how the organization works. Now, when planning how to achieve those quality objectives, the organization shall determine what will be done, what are we trying to achieve, and what resources will be required or what resources will be needed. Cash, employees, and maybe contacts. Who will be responsible for each objectives, and who will be, of course, in charge, or who will be in control for that particular objective, and when will it be completed, and how the results will be evaluated. All of this could be done or could be answered with a simple table like the one we've got in here. So we've taken an example of quality objectives like customer satisfaction survey index of more than 75%, and we're assigning that job to the general administrator, the technical manager, production and operations team, and the quality assurance team, and we're sending 5 surveys. A minimum of 5 surveys are sent 2 times each year. Another example of quality objective is on-time delivery. We want more than 95% of our products or services to be delivered on time, and we're assigning that to the production and operation team. And that team is required to report at least 2 times each year. So that team needs to report about the status of that quality objectives. and a quality objective could be the receiving inspection, also known as the income inspection, which is basically the inspection of the raw material. So we want it to be greater than 95%. So more than 95% of the raw material needs to be in a good shape or in a good state. And we're assigning that to the production and operation team. And again, that team is required to report at least 2 times, needs to report about the status of that quality objective at least 2 times each year. Now, as for auditing this requirement, the auditor needs to review the quality objectives document. So obviously the quality objectives need to be documented and written. The auditor also needs to conduct interviews with personnel and top management to ensure that everyone is on board with the quality objectives of our organization. And the auditor needs to review the objective status and where does the organization stand with completing or achieving quality objectives. Subclause 3 of clause 6 is planning of changes. Now, change is almost inevitable in an organization. So, when there is a need for a change to the QMS, this must be done in a planned and systematic manner. So, you have to plan the change. So, planning the change, also known as change management. Now, before we talk about change management, let's talk about change first. So, change include moving from one site to another, or changing processes or methods used in the QMS, or maybe going online. So the organization might be going online, or the change in the technology and software, or the key personnel leaving, or maybe opening an office in a different location, etc. So there are different examples of change. Now, as for change management, the organization, so if you're planning to change, you need to consider the purpose of the change and any potential consequences. Basically, why are you changing it, and what could happen when you make the change? So what are you trying to achieve here with the change? You need to consider the integrity of the QMS, or the quality management system. Basically, you need to ensure that the QMS doesn't get affected negatively, for example, something that cannot be done anymore because you changed the process. So basically, what are the consequences of that change? You need to also consider the availability of resources. So what resources are required, like people, technology, or money maybe. When planning a change, you also need to consider the allocation or reallocation of responsibilities and authorities. So basically, what effects will the change have upon the staff and their roles, and could the change affect other areas? Now, as for auditing this requirement, the auditor needs to review the planning of the change, or also known as the change management documents, if there are any. So if there are any change management documents, the auditor needs to take a look or review those documents. Or if not, if there isn't a change management document, the auditor needs to review any other documents, like the strategy documents, plans, etc. The auditor needs to conduct interviews with personnel and top management, and maybe talk about future plans of change, or history, or previous change or plans of changes.